Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pacers Daily. I'm your host, Hery Acosta. Let's get right into it with the NBA Cup groups. We have the Cavaliers, the Hawks, the Raptors, and the Wizards. Now, this is a winnable division. The Cavaliers and Hawks obviously are going to be the two main teams that people are going to look at this year just because the Hawks added NAW and Kristaps Porzingis. And outside of Karis LeVert, Georges Niang, and Capella, pretty much kept a lot of the same guys. And the Cavaliers, obviously, Cavaliers pretty much kept the same team. And they brought in Lonzo for Isaac Okoro. And so, also with the Pacers not having Tyrese or just kind of building a new dynamic, they're probably not going to be seen as the favorites to win this group. Now, like I said, this group is a winnable group. We're not in like a group of death or anything with like if like they had the Knicks and the Bucks and everyone all in the same group. No, this is a winnable group. Wizards, probably the least of our worries in this group, as the Wizards still are potentially fighting for the number one pick. Raptors are up and down. They could be a sneaky play-in team, but most likely still out of the playoff race. But it's just the Hawks and the Cavs are two teams we gotta look for. Every time the Hawks play the Pacers, though, it is the highest scoring game you will ever see for no reason. Back when the Pacers went 4-0 in the group stage in the NBA Cup, that game was like 157 to 152. Pacers win. But we've seen what the Pacers have done with all these teams, so we'll see how that goes. I really think that the Pacers could still win this, but it is going to be a little difficult. Now, over to bad news. This just came out recently. Halliburton says that he's not going to be able to play basketball for at least 15 months, which that would equal to November of the 2026-2027 season, which, if done correctly, that's at least the second or third week of that season. Obviously, in no way do I want him to rush back, but yeah, 15 months, that's bad. None of us want to see that. We want him ready for next year because we know he's out this year. But then you look back at other Achilles injuries. Durant was out 18 months with his. I mean, he barely played the season after. Clay was out forever whenever he tore his, but it was after an ACL tear as well, those 2 years that he was out. And actually, he was even out longer with that Achilles tear. And just, this is not the best news that Pacers could get. We were hoping a 12 to 13 month recovery and then he'd be back similar, like close to the start of next season. But Achilles injuries are tricky. They're not something you want to come back early from. We've seen that hurt a lot of careers. But also, he's not the only person that's going to be coming off torn Achilles. There's been a lot of torn Achilles in the NBA over the past couple of years. And there's already 3 multiple-time All-Stars that are out for this season with a torn Achilles. Lillard's out, Tatum's out, and Hallie's out. Last year, we had Murray that got hurt in the middle of the season with an Achilles. Deron Holmes didn't even get to play in his rookie year because of a torn Achilles. Both Wiseman and Jackson on the Pacers, torn Achilles. That injury is getting a lot more common, and we've seen a lot more players go down with it. But also, we saw a lot of torn ACLs last season. Mo Wagner, Kyrie Irving, Grant Williams, and even Nikola Topic, who has more championships and games he's played in the NBA. So, all right. But next, my daily kind of talk about free agency. Steph Curry's still a free agent now. He's not linked to the Pacers at all. He's really not linked to anyone right now. He could end up being overseas or in a G League. But Steph Curry's a 10-point per game scorer. Now, he had some great seasons in the early 2020s when he played with Philadelphia and Brooklyn. We all know he's been around the league, played for the Hornets, for the Blazers, for the Mavericks, played a game for the Grizzlies, the Cavs. He's been all around the league and has never really found like his home. And now he's in his mid-30s. He's not an all-star. He's not some player you dream about, but he is a solid 3-point shooter. I mean, he's he's pretty much the prototype of his brother, but doesn't have all the other skills that Steph has. But Steph's a good 3-point shooter, good playmaker, good ball handler, but doesn't really have. He can be a valuable backup on the Pacers, just because the Pacers could really fill out their bench a little bit more, and just kind of see how much more depth we have. Now, obviously, you normally don't want to sign a 34-year-old to like a two-way contract. So if he can bring him in for training camp and just see how that goes, because I think he has a shot at this roster, but you never know just because of how young our team is and how good everyone has shown to be off the bench. And then I want to tie in a little bit to what I talked about earlier with Halliburton, and I know I've talked about this a lot, but now because it's a 15-month recovery rather than what we originally thought would be like a year, there's a little bit more to kind of discuss when it comes to actually what we have to do without Halliburton. Now, first and foremost, I can't stress this enough. It's time for Benedict Mathurin to show up. It's time for him. Not that he hasn't shown up. He has been great off the bench. He has been one of the best bench players in the league over the past few years. But it's time for him to just take a crazy leap into this season. Just because while he may not be a starter over the next few years, and this could be his only starting season, oh well. Who knows? Mathurin could end up being a big trade piece in the future. Or something could happen and he just ends up being the full-time starter. But we have a good lineup. But then we could also play around with that lineup and just kind of see how everyone does at different places. Worst case scenario, if Mathurin steps out, Nesmith could end up becoming a bench player, and then Mathurin could end up playing the 3. And obviously you have Hallie and Nemhard at the 1 and the 2. But Nesmith's also a heck of a player and one of the best 3-and-D guys in the league. So there's a lot that the Pacers are going to have to deal with that, just because we can build a lot of different lineups. We have seen Obi Toppin start for injury. We have seen multiple centers start for injury. But now that we have pretty much a set roster outside of potentially could use 1 or 2 more small free agents for the bench, we have pretty much something set. But the Pacers have to adjust, not having that playmaker, that just leader, that all-star, that all-NBA player to really lead your team. Now, you have Siakam, and Siakam is all those things. But he also doesn't have that court vision or that kind of pass-first mindset that Tyrese has. So Pacers definitely going to have to figure all that stuff out. But as always, I'm your host, Hery Acosta. This is Pacers Daily. Boom, baby, and go Sirs.